She was waiting for the opportunity.
Camera tree ready?
Must be nice living the single life, goddamn.
It is. Yeah.
All I can do is watch.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the League of Extraordinary People. I'm your host, Jesse. I am joined by my co-host, my boy Brian, my brother. Tell the people what's up.
What's up, y'all? How y'all doing?
I know it's been a while. A lot has happened since then, and there will be an episode for that. But today, I have three special guests. These brothers are truly humble and amazing, and they really just make sure they represent the culture well. Gentlemen, why don't you introduce yourselves?
How's it going? I'm Tang.
Hold on, pause.
Wait, so when you say what kind of intro, like where we from, just
Yeah,
the name?
just
or
my name is Tank. I'm from.
should I use my proper name or just what they call me on the street?
You can do what you want, bro. Like,
Okay, I'll put my full name in.
Yeah.
But you can call, because I was like,
all right, go ahead. Let's go.
how's everyone doing? My name is Utlanan Tailo Treletsonare, but I'm officially known as Tang. I'm from South Africa / Zimbabwe, Kiamsotu and Nshona. Yeah, I've been out here in Grand Junction for about 3 years now. I moved here in America probably 8 years ago, so still kind of fresh off the boat.
Hey, how'd you say your name again?
Utlanan.
Ukana
Yeah, Utlanan Tailo
Tayelo.
Treletsonare.
Tile.
Yeah, Treletsonare.
I'm not even about to butcher your name like that. I'm gonna just be real with you.
But just call me Tang, you know, keep it easy.
Thank you.
All right, next up.
Alright, what's good? My name's Joseph Kofi Duya Adjaman, aka Jay. Nice to meet you. From Brooklyn, New York City, born and raised. My dad is from Ghana, West Africa, and my mom's from Kingston, Jamaica.
There you go.
Yes,
Yo,
sir.
man.
What's up?
Wagwan.
What I deal with?
Wagwan.
Yes, sir. But I've been in Grand Junction for about 1.5 years now. I'm a travel respiratory therapist, also a personal trainer, so I just make moves in this community, and here I am. You feel me?
Yeah, so I'm Glory. I'm from the Congo, Central Africa. Oh, I gotta look at this one, right?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm from Central Africa. Been in America since 2006. And yeah, been in Grand Junction about 7 years now. Went to college over here, and I've just been working. That's about it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So, gentlemen, let's start off with a banger first. How different is it here from outside the country, from your home? How different? How much different is it? Because a lot of my viewers are only from locally, so Grand Junction. So some may travel, some may not. But I mean, we live smack dab in the middle of America, you know. So how is it from you guys' home countries?
Well, since these two are like born and raised in Africa, I'll probably like start off because I've stayed a little bit in Africa, just not all the way. You know what I mean? So I spent a lot of years in the States too, but I have traveled out of the country a lot. So there's like such a multitude of perspectives just from both sides of the story. You know what I mean? Like being raised in an African home and also in a Jamaican like oriented home as well. It's like there's so much embedded in culture that like you really don't like experience. Like I experienced like the hood and everything, like being in the trenches of Brooklyn, New York. Like you around that, but it's like such a solid, like concentrated, like family lifestyle in a African and Jamaican crib. So it's just like if you mess up, you do something stupid, yeah, you getting your ass whooped officially. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't fuck around, you don't do dumb shit. Like you are raised in the sense that like you know you better be something in life, or we're gonna kick you out the house so far that you might end up back in Africa with discipline. You feel me? So word up. So it's like I'm super thankful for that because like even though I grew up around like you know a lot of American friends, a lot of Latinos, a lot of like just like different cultures, it's just like when you go home and you home like your mom and pops like they make sure that you know what's up. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you get best of both worlds. You know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't raised American, but I was also raised in a very thick, like African and Jamaican culture. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they don't take no shit. And you don't take no shit, you know what I'm saying? But you gotta make sure like you about your business too. And it's just like, it's a beautiful thing just to be, you know, first of all, black. You know what I'm saying? But black in multitude of communities. And when you compare that to being here, that I feel like that's what makes me such a like kind of like the black sheep out here, because it's just like I have so much to bring to such a minute culture in Grand Junction, you know what I'm saying? And it's like being part of the gym and like being like working in the hospital and stuff like that, like everybody like just circulates around my energy, you know what I'm saying? I'm a big energy person, so it's like what you put out there, like people perceive that, and it's just like if you just come with a reckless, like crazy mentality, like, oh, he's from New York City, he's probably arrogant as hell, or like he's mad, like wild or whatever, and then they actually meet me and they're like, oh shit, you humble dude, you know what I mean? And it's like they realize, oh, he's bringing something different to the table, so they really like circulate around that and like, yo, I want to get to know who this cat is. I'm like, all right, well, here I am. You know what I'm saying? So you get all of me. You know what I mean? Everything from where I'm from being black, from being, you know, African, being Jamaican, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, I'm going to bring the whole thing to you and let you enjoy what I got. You feel me?
All right, bet. And I'm going to try to say, no, I can't try to say it, I didn't even try to say it.
Word up.
So how is it different from your homeland to here in America?
So it's very different. Now that I've been here longer, I'm starting to like kind of adjust. Because I'm still, people think, oh, you've been here so 8 years, you should be used to it. It's like, but no, because I grew up and had my young adulthood in Africa, it's hard just kind of like going from, it's almost like trying to break a bad habit. And I've noticed like a lot of stuff is different, from like the food to the language to how people interact. I've noticed people back home are like, they're more friendly, more approachable, there's more like a respect aspect to the way we like communicate and associate and all that. So for example, if I were to come across an elder, we can't call them by their name. Like my uncle, I hang out with him a lot. Yeah, we pretty much like best friends and all, but I can't call him by his name. I have to say Warangwani, which basically means like little father. Because essentially he's my dad's younger brother. So when I need to get disciplined, it's not my dad who does the disciplining, it's him. Whereas here it's like there's that, oh, hey Charlie, and it's like, I'm like, yo, he's like 85, why are you calling him by his name? And like, it's like, hey Fred, and I'm just like, even at work, when I see older people, even though I know them and I'm cool with them, I can't like address them by their name. Whereas here, so, because they're very big on respect and tradition, culture, and kind of, I'm getting that set up. And then like stuff like the food is different. Like here the food, I went back home in January, and when I ate that food, I was like, hey man, like the flavor, it's very flavorsome and all that. Then here's like all GMO'd up, like a piece of chicken looks like a turkey out here. I was like, man, how did the chicken get this big and all that? And just like this very different like dynamics and all that, from infrastructure to agriculture to just way that people interact. It's like, so if you were to like go to Africa, you probably get like culture shock, kind of the same way I did going from here to here, just because everything is, nothing is quite the same. Even though like we speak English, like the English spoken there is different to here, and then like the dialogue and the way people like communicate and all that is different. It's like hard to explain in words. It's something you have to experience. Because I could say, yeah, the food is different. It's like, okay, how different? It's like, no, you just gotta experience it to know.
It's like night and day.
Yeah,
It really is.
like everything is different. Just it's really hard to explain, honestly, because it's something you have to actually see and experience to notice the difference, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. What's up? We've known each other for a little bit now.
Man.
All the way back to college.
College, bro.
I got history, man.
So,
For sure.
parties, good times, intramural sports.
Everything.
Soccer, too.
Everything.
So how has it been different here versus, where you're from?
Yeah, so I agree with everything they say, same for me, but the only thing I can add is that I came from a French-speaking country, you know what I'm saying? So coming over here, not knowing English and all that stuff, so you gotta learn the language, and that was tough, man. So going through that, actually, that's the only thing I can talk about. But everything they say, yeah, I agree. Same thing, man. But the thing I can say is like, it's just how you adapt. You know what I'm saying? Like here in America, like I basically grew up here. Even though I came from Africa, but like when I got here, I was very young, so I just had to find a way to adapt and trying to fit in with the culture and stuff like that. So that was a huge part. But I'm still doing it till today, man. Still learning, so still going with my business. But but home is always gonna be home. You know? That's fair.
So as you mentioned that it takes time to adapt.
Yes.
How, I mean, like, I would figure, like, you know, in a lot of ways, like, that depends on timing, how much interaction you're getting. But how long did it take you guys to feel your adaptation was adequate enough to be considered, you know, American, or, you know?
Wow, that's rough. So what I can say is sport. You know what I'm saying? Play a
Sports is
huge
a
part
big
of that.
thing,
So
yeah.
that was the main reason that helped me out trying to adapt, try to engage to the culture and everything. So like I was pretty good at soccer. You know what I'm saying? So the only way I could make friends was like. Think about it. Coming here, you don't speak English, you don't know nothing but the culture, you don't know nothing, right?
Yeah.
So you're just like this kid, whatever. So in order for me trying to fit in, was like soccer was the way. So I would think like sport, you know, that's how you make friends, and you know, you get to talk to people and they start knowing you and all stuff. So it took I'll say like a few years, cause you know I was like middle school, maybe like my freshman year in high school, so probably about 3 years, yeah. And then after that I just moving forward, man.
Yeah.
You know?
And I'm gonna add to that too. So like, my dad actually was like a goalkeeper, like in Africa. So like, soccer's been his
like
thing.
professional?
Professional, bro.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So it's like, growing up in that, like he wanted me to play soccer so bad, and I did. I actually played striker for like a good 5-6 years in high school and a little bit of college. But football kind of took like my thing. You know what I'm saying? Cause it's like, first of all, they kept saying I was too aggressive in soccer. And I was like, all right, what you mean by that? But like, it just like, I brought so much like power. They was just like, well, you're just gonna destroy everybody. Like, you gotta relax. And I'm like, well, I mean, playing the game. What you want me to do? So like, my pop's like, all right, well, go and try that football, American football, whatever you call it. You know what I'm saying? So I did it, and I actually ended up playing running back for Marshall University. And man, it's like, but I would say this, like, soccer really like created like so much athleticism in me though, man. Like, there's so much endurance that is consolidated in soccer, bro. And people sleep on that. Like, I got my speed from soccer, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, it helped me actually, like, you know, going from a African or just international sport and utilizing that in American football, in the sense that, like, you know, you just learn how to be so agile and just like, I mean, you become unstoppable. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I love the fact that, like, growing up in a soccer oriented like family, for example, was just like, it just creates like such a big forte, you know what I'm saying, where you just like, you can utilize it in everything you do, you know what I mean? Because I also ran track too. I did the 100s and 200s, and like, speed is like, it's been a thing. And like, when you play soccer, like, you know, like, if you don't run your ass off, someone's gonna get that ball from you, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's the same thing in football, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, it orients in everything you freaking like do. So I would say like, sports really like, it's such a huge impact, you know what I'm saying? Especially like coming from like a foreign family, you know what I'm saying? Like, he understands that, he knows that, you know what I'm saying? So
And
it's a big influence.
is it the same for you, since you've only been here for 8 years?
See, so for me, it kind of was, because I played rugby back home, then I kind of continued playing here. But what helped me was, luckily for me, prior to moving to the States, I lived in 5 other countries. So I was already used to kind of adapting to different cultures and different like systems and all that. So coming to America, it was a shock, because, you know, the accent and the, you know, the way people interact and all that. But because I'd already experienced other cultures and different, like, you know, I guess accents and the way people interact and all that, that kind of helped me, because I'm used to having to change, because like I said, I lived in 5 other countries before moving to the States. But sports did help. I went to college, and I didn't know, and it was just myself and my brother. He had been here 2 years before we all moved. And when he introduced me to his friends, because I'm very like reserved and kind of to myself kind of thing. So like, he basically forced me to like, hey man, you need to.
Until he's in the club.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm the guy that sits in the corner, like just chilling. So like, rugby did help, because basically sports is a universal language if you think about it. Like, soccer's played the same way here as it is in Europe, as it is in Africa and all that. So through that, I was able to kind of learn and meet people who were basically able to teach me what America's about through them. So then that did help me adapt too, because I made friends on the rugby team. They're like, hey, let's go hang out afterwards and do this. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, let's do it. And then they kind of showed me like how people do things out here essentially. So sports did help me, but also living in other different countries before living in the States also quite helped a bit, because you're pretty much forced to like adopt their ways, but still, you know, making sure you keep your own traditions and all that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you have to be like basically multifaceted. You have to be able to like be American but then also African, because yeah, I could be African in America, but then there'll be that like communication disconnect. It's like, oh, why is he doing that? That is weird. You know, so it's one of those where I was like, okay, yes, I'm African, I'm from South Africa, this, that, but I also have to learn how to be American. So I kind of had to like shut my African brain and be like, okay, for the next 3 years, just try be American. So that way you can adopt and be able to live here without having any issues and all that. Because if I stayed African, I'm like, God, this guy, like I could do something that's cool in Africa, but here could put you in like prison, you know, stuff like that. So I kind of, that helped where like I met those people, because they told me, it's like, okay, in America, this is how we do this, and this is how we do this. If you do this, it's frowned upon or it's seen as disrespect. Kind of like in Asia, people here like they stare a lot, and now back in Africa, we don't stare. Like staring is seen as disrespect. So every time I see someone staring at me, I'm like,
Like, what you looking
but then I'm
at?
like, wait, I'm still in America. Then I'm like, I stare back, you know, kind of thing.
yeah.
Whereas in Africa, that would be seen as like disrespectful. So it's like, if I didn't, you know, adapt or adjust my mentality in that sense, I would have been like in trouble like years ago, just because, you know, I was still living as an African in America. But so luckily meeting those people and like, you know, getting involved in sports and all that did help me like become more American quicker. It took me maybe, I'd say like 4 years to fully like adjust and become accustomed to like the American way.
Okay, so question for you then. Do you feel more American than African or more African than American when you brought it all together? You feel like you're 50-50 with it now? Or like
I'd say
60-40?
If I had to put a percentage on it, I'd say I'm probably like 70% African, 30% American. Because even though I adapt, the 30% I kept is what will keep me alive and, you know, functioning in America. But I'm like, I'm not going to get rid of who I am and like how I grew up and my traditions. Because I know, like, for example, I went back home in January. If I went there as like 60% American, 40% African, hey, it would have been, you know, I would have been in trouble there. So I was like, no, let me keep the American. That'll keep me like, you know, grounded and alive and out the like the illegal system or like the jurisdictional system, you know, and kind of help me like, you know, maintain a job, grow, succeed, and all that. Let me keep that part, but then let me also maintain what keeps me African. That way I don't lose who I am as a person versus saying, oh, I'm an American now, therefore now I'm American. It's like, yeah, I'm glad and humble and like I appreciate American culture and all that, but at the same time I don't want to lose who I am.
That's true.
So I was like, let me keep the important stuff and then, you know, also keep the important from Africa. So
Facts. And I love that perspective because it's just like I said, like, you know, growing up in an African home and a Jamaican home is like, but I'm still like raised as an American, you know what I'm saying? I'm born on American soil. I'm New York to the day I die.
So then what percentage would you be of African versus American?
There you go. So for me, it's 50-50.
Okay.
Because I feel like I get a fine balance of the two. You know what I mean? Like, I'm always going to be an African Jamaican in my soul, for sure. You know what I'm saying? I speak to these niggas like they African. I'm like, yo. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to treat them like they American. Like, these are my guys. You know what I mean? So it's like, but like I know where, like, how to adapt a little differently compared to my brothers because I was raised in a full American like aspect. You know what I'm saying? Like, I spent a lot of my years in America. You know what I mean? Like, but I've still traveled overseas and I understand the African culture. I understand the Jamaican culture. I understand the respect. I understand the sense of disrespect. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like I bring all that balance and I understand that. That's why I can relate to them. I can relate to y'all at the same time.
All right, bet.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man, well, since you've been...
I'm a little different from like I said. Me is probably gonna be like, I'll put 60 American and 40 African.
Okay.
Yeah, because I came here as a young kid, man. So I grew up here. Like I said, like, I like to adapt to the culture. I learned the American and everything. So that's how I live my life. And then the African part is more like, since I came as a young kid, like I forgot. I wouldn't say forget, but like I don't remember like not much. You know what I'm saying? From back home, since I haven't been back since 2006. I mean, at least he got the time. You know? But I haven't been. So think about it. From 2006 to now, things have changed. You know, I got family people back there that calls me and like, hey, I'm this, that, I'm your uncle, I'm this, that. I don't remember them. You know, I got cousins. I got all these people, you know what I'm saying?
typical African.
But there's a small percentage, like, I got a little brother, like a full brother, like, you know what I'm saying? So I take care of him and all that. Those are the only people I cannot remember, but everybody else I don't. So if I ever go back home, I was trying to learn the culture back again, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm not gonna just go, oh, I know this place, I know that, I know this, you know what I'm saying? Because I'll be foolish to say that. So I must to engage again, learn that culture, you know what I'm saying? But I don't forget where I came from. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'll put more on the American side, because I basically grew up here, went to school here, like went to college and everything, you know, here. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm kind of fucked up, you know what I'm saying?
he's kind of torn up between the two. Nah, you really
I'm
relate to
now
that.
American.
Yeah. Fed, you gonna eat regardless, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, that's just the African like love and culture. Like, you are always taken care of, bro.
That's what's up.
Yeah, even with nothing.
So then what about America?
Yeah, that's the thing. What is it? I would say this, because I'm like on the 50-50 zone, it's like America is so beautiful in the sense that you can seek any kind of opportunity.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? This is a very opportunistic state. Country. And they just like, this country is just so consolidated with so many different people. And it's just like, it's a country that does bring a lot of people together if it's in the right scene. You know what I'm saying? But it can also be a curse as well. You know what I'm saying? Where like a lot of people try to like contradict each other. Like they don't come together, they don't compromise, they don't, you know what I'm saying? Like the peace zone is just like, it can also deter the fact that like, you know, we are all people. We all become one. We all live in the same damn country. So why can't we all just come together and show love? You know what I'm saying? And I feel like the love is deteriorated in this country. But the thing at the same time, like, this country just has just so much to give. But we all gotta do it in unity, bro. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like, you know, so far as like this country itself, the most beautiful thing is just like opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Opportunity is big. You know what I mean? Like, you definitely could come here and just make moves. You know what I'm saying? And if it's utilized the right way, man, you can take it to the fucking skies, bro. You know what I'm saying? And that's really dope. Like, but I feel like this country needs more love, man. It really does, bro.
All right, and for you, what is the one thing you cherish about Africa and one thing you cherish about America?
I'd say what I cherish a lot about, or the most I guess about Africa is like, it's like the tradition, the culture, the values that they have, and kind of like the respect amongst like the hype. So like your kids to your elders. Like when we were growing up, you know, they would for every like an hour and a half, they'd have the kids sit with the grandparents. So we kind of learn more about, hey, so this is where you came from. This is this and that, you know, like just basically being embedded in that culture. You know, that's one thing I cherished a lot. That and like you said, the happiness, like people there are so happy.
They're so happy.
Like, and they're very generous too. You know, they thrive on like building a brother up. Basically, so like when I went back, there was a homeless man. I had like leftover KFC. There was like 2 pieces of chicken in there. I gave it to him. He literally took one. He went and found another homeless person and gave him that other piece. He wasn't like, oh, this is just mine. So I was like, yo, he's struggling. It's like that.
McDonald's, nigga.
We got Nando's.
Yeah.
We got chicken licking. Debonaise. But like it's just that like he's struggling. Like he was like on the, you know, skinny, torn clothes, but he's like, you know what? This piece is enough to, you know, keep me alive. Let me go help someone else, you know, live too. So like that generosity, that kind of like that togetherness, that's one thing like I really like love about back home. So everyone is just so friendly, everyone's nice. You could meet a stranger, you think you've known them for your whole life because you'll say, hey, how you doing? Oh, my brother, hey, Ruki. It's like, not get some hey, what's you saw? You know, it's just like, you know, versus just double like, hey man, who you? Why you talking?
Yeah, why you talking
like
to me?
this? It's almost like,
do you like that.
you know, there's just like that whole like different perception thing, but yeah, that's one thing I love. And out here, what would I say? I guess the opportunity to do more.
Yes.
Like for example, like me wanting to travel, it's easier to do it from here versus back home.
For sure.
You know, it's like it's more cost effective. Basically, the availability of resources here is
high.
It's one of those like if you want to you can go make money. You just have to not be lazy. You know, you gotta know the right people, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I like is just you're able to. If you put your mind to it, you can succeed. There's no like, I mean, obviously there's some areas where like, you know, race and bias will play it, like, you know, factor in it. Like if you go to a predominantly white town, as a black man trying to get a job, they'll find some excuse not to give it to you just because they're like, hey, we don't want this, like, what's this guy doing here kind of thing. But you know, but there's still that opportunity though. And there are all so many programs that, like homeless people, they have homeless shelters, they have, you know, like the Veterans Assistance Program. You could be homeless and get, what is it called, EBT, EDT?
EBT.
Yeah, EBT. It's like, whereas back home, if you're homeless, you're homeless. There's no shelter, there's no handouts, there's no like, hey, the government will assist you. There's like, hey man, you're on your own unless someone like, you know, gives you $1 or anything. But here, you know, even the poorest can still kind of live. They can still have shelter. They can still have food.
Right.
So basically, they take care of the people, even though some of the methods they do it by, I don't really agree with.
No.
But they still, you know, take care of their people and all. That's one thing I do like. It's like you can be homeless, but you know you're still gonna eat. You can go to like the homeless shelter and get a meal. You can go sleep. You know, you can do this and that.
You got Salvation Army. You have
You've got all these things that help people that don't have money.
Yes.
Versus back home, it's like, hey, you're poor. I'm sorry, guy.
I
Go
mean,
beg.
go
You know,
beg or something.
go steal.
Yeah, I will say that for sure.
So that's one thing I do like about here is that they do take care of their poor, like the veterans and all that.
Yeah.
Some they choose not to use those services. That's on them. I'm like, why are you begging when you could literally go to the homeless shelter? Like, why are you on the side of the street? You know they'll give you food if you go. It's like, is it for drugs? Is it for what? But they have resources and infrastructure in place to help those that basically struggle, but like financially and like mentally. Like if you have mental health issues, you can go see a psychologist. You can go like
you don't have
go to a therapist and all. They're like, no, he's just mad. What's wrong with that kid? No, he's just mad. Leave him.
Just leave him alone.
He is mad. He drink too much. Whereas here it's like, hey, we're gonna find you help. You're gonna speak to this person. You know, we're gonna get them. They're like, he's just mad. That's one thing I do like about here is their ways ways to help those that aren't as fortunate as others.
Yes.
Like I said, like, you know, through the veterans assistance, you know, the food, the shelters, the food, what are they, the food drives and all that. So
Facts.
All right, bet.
Facts. Yes, sir.
And for you, my son,
All right.
Champion.
that's between both worlds. What is one thing you cherish about both worlds?
Word up.
Man, I told up good with my brothers, man, 100%. So I'll say for Africa, I'll be like, peace, man. It's a peaceful continent, you know what I'm saying?
Word.
Like, just think about it, like, we got colonized, you know, slavery, all these things happened in Africa, you know what I'm saying? But all they wanted was peace, you know what I'm saying? So we, like, just like what Jay was talking about, we don't have much, you know, but they're just happy. You know, I remember when I was back home, we didn't have much, but I would still go outside, play with my friends, just enjoy the day, you know what I'm saying? So that, I'm very happy and thankful for that. And in the American side, I'll be like, opportunity, you know what I'm saying? Like, if today I'm able to like take care of my mom, my family back home, you know, it's because what I get from America, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm able to have a few investment here and there because of what America has given me, you know what I'm saying? So obviously you gotta work hard and all that, but you get to opportunity to do that. Obviously back home I can't do it, but here at least I get that chance, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and then also freedom of speech, be able to speak your mind up, you know, say what's in your chest, whatever, not get in trouble. But there's the third world country, just since we're speaking about
You can't say
Africa,
whatever.
you can't say whatever you want to
especially when it
say.
comes to politics.
Beat your ass.
Yeah.
Comes to politics. Are you Hutu or Tutsi? What did you say?
Exactly.
Like,
You can't just
which
say it.
party are you supporting? It's like, if I say the wrong one, I'm gonna get beat up. I don't know, I can't vote. It's like,
I don't have voting rights. I can't vote. I'm
I'm
sorry.
not from here, I'm visiting, I'm a tourist. I'm actually from that country there.
That one.
Not from here.
I'm from Egypt.
Well, gentlemen, I want to say thank you so much for joining us today. You really just taught us a lot about your culture and you know, and how you feel about our culture here in America.
Word.
And I'm very grateful for this opportunity for you guys. Let's meet up again. Let's do another episode, all right?
Thank you for having us, man.
Thank you.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is the League of Extraordinary People.
Yes, sir.
I'm your host, Jesse, and I will see you another day. Peace.
Much love.
Alright, guys.
Peace, brother.
That's it.